I think there's a big swing happening from the mom and pop shops to larger corporations. It's been a swing for a long time, I feel like, but for some reason, the last like 3 years, I've been really seeing and sensing that, and like going to like the national funeral conferences, you can get that feel that there's sort of a trend going, and I think it's neither good nor bad. I think if you're at a small family funeral home, it would be considered bad. But that's why I think we do the things that we do to try to keep everyone up to the same level of standard and try to improve each other so no one's falling behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And with so much information out there, it's important to have somebody synthesize it for you.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And that's what we like try to do is try to be on the cutting edge with everything we do. And I know, Jolene, that you are on the cutting edge of something a little bit different, a little bit new. Why don't you tell us what you have going work wise for us, and then we could dissect it and really get involved with what you're doing.
Yeah. So I have started a company called Farewell Finder that is centered around simplifying end of life arrangements. It has
Okay.
a focus not only on time of need, but pre need. Because
Yep.
ideally, none of us want to be in that situation where it's in place
Yep.
and
Absolutely.
death happens. So Farewell Finder aims to be a digital destination of sorts to
Hmm.
help consumers connect to trusted funeral homes, as well as have the tools that they need to do event planning, your Spotify playlist, your memorial board to bring all of those digital legacy components as well.
Yeah. So are you more on the direct to the family side of thing, the consumer side, or are you working with funeral homes as well? And what can we do, like as a funeral home? Where is our benefit working with you, and like what is it that we can work together on that's going to help us take our business to the next level?
So this is a collaborative approach because without the homes working directly with the consumers, there would be no Farewell Finder. I
Yeah.
will have a lot of education and onboarding on the consumer level, but for the funeral homes, what I need is their voice, their problems. But ultimately, it's looking towards how can we help you meet more consumers digitally to do online arrangements, to
Hmm.
help them manage their digital legacies as a value add service to your home,
Right.
information they need without needing to pick up the phone.
Yeah, that's clutch. I think that's huge. And there's usually a lot of questions that we have to answer when a family calls. So I think it's good to have a resource like that so that they can be informed with whether it's where they're going to choose, or if you're with a funeral home, how are you going to go enact this whole process. So I think that awareness is very important.
Well, and it's also customer satisfaction because you have repeat customers within families for generations.
Yep.
And consumers or the bereaved, for a long time, they've been going to the place next door.
Hmm.
But now that the internet and everything else has been in play for a long time, they are trying to choose venues or service providers based off of their offering. So it's where can you manage those reviews? Where can you put your best foot forward and
Hmm.
really connect to the people that are going to benefit your service most? So you can be there not only the first time they have that need in their life, but the second and the third.
So is a family able to save somehow the actual service that they had for another loved one? So say, hey, we went to so and so restaurant, we had this person speak, we had these readings done, or whatever it might be. Is there a way to do that for a family?
Yeah. So there will be a collaborative approach where they can schedule, choose the home, manage the invites, and make reviews on their experience. Not only the reviews from Farewell Finder support, but reviews on the support that they got from whether it's, post grief, pre grief. Could you do customized service requests? And
Yeah.
if they want to blueprint that top notch service and put it implemented into their own pre need plan, they're able to do that.
Right. I think the pre-need part is absolutely crucial for that, because I think that's where you're going to find more people searching around and doing like some more in-depth planning as far as the memorial side of things. And as a funeral director, we know how crucial your pre-need business is. It's literally the lifeblood of a lot of your future business. Not only is it, important to be serving every family to your fullest, marketing your services and your team as best you can through your service and beyond, but also sort of padding your future business with people that are still around. So I think that's a crucial element to you do. What are like some of the funeral homes that you are working with or going to be working with? What are your plans for helping them to expand that pre-need side of business? Because I think that's huge.
Any names? Farewell Finder in itself, like from my personal experience, right? This was born from my father and unexpectedly passing away,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
we had no plan. Something was sitting somewhere, maybe in a safe somewhere, that
Yeah.
we'd never talked about because we didn't expect it.
Yep.
And it makes the situation much more difficult when you have to make decisions on behalf of someone when you don't have any insights into what they wanted.
Yep.
So the idea from pre-need first came from that. Let's prevent that situation from happening.
Mm-hmm.
And moving from there, it just so happened to align with the funeral homes also wanting to
Right.
mitigate that risk. So
Yeah.
Farewell Finder itself as an entity will be doing educational campaigns, webinars. I'll be partnering with some influencers, doing some traditional advertising as well as radio advertising, and partnerships with healthcare to really just educate the consumer in a positive way about what does it mean to pre-plan? What does it mean to have a living will?
Right.
What does it mean to your loved ones during this process for them to know what you want and what burden are you alleviating from them? And so we're hoping to drive more consumers towards pre-planning with that educational aspect, as well as some more modern marketing campaigns.
Yeah, I think it's great to have a mix of those things because you still have the people that you're targeting are going to be more on that traditional sort of digestion of media. And then to have it be more on the influencer side, the media side, I think there's a whole lot of things that we can do to target the broad spectrum of people that we do service. You don't know if you're going to be dealing with a 19-year-old that lost a parent, or if you're going to be dealing with a 69-year-old who is losing a parent. There's such a different spectrum, so we have to be prepared to find those people in with whatever capacity that they're coming in, which is nice that it seems like you're trying to target that as well.
I think it can be people don't want to talk about it. New ways to connect with people to have difficult conversations.
Yeah, yeah, it's not easy to do. It isn't. It really isn't.
It's
uh
going to be trial and error. I'll let you know how it goes, but
yeah,
I have high hopes.
I think we've started to break that barrier a little bit. At least I think through the things that I've experienced with comments and people interacting with our videos and crap. Just people are more curious and willing to open up and talk about it, especially in like an open forum, maybe even more of an anonymous type of way. Like, I know it's stupid, but TikTok videos, people are more willing to sort of have that conversation, ask the questions that they've always wanted to know, and get the real answers. So I think we are getting better about addressing that need because it's a very Americanized way of living where we're not talking so much about what's going on or what is going to happen if someone passes away, which is just a shame because I think it makes just life a little bit harder, especially after the fact when you don't know what to plan for and you're just trying to hold back and suppress all the things that you're dealing with emotionally,
Mhm.
physically, and then financially on top of it as well. So it's all of those things that need to be addressed just to help ourselves. And then we can do that in funeral service to help families too.
Yeah, it's very isolating,
Hmm.
support structure around you at the end of life. And it's even more stressful if you don't know what's happening. But I hear you on that. We're seeing things where TikTok people are able to start discussing it. And I think it's a very large generational shift,
Hmm.
more willing to talk about it now than ever. And there are like the order of the good death and a lot of these death doula groups are pushing forward that death positivity movement
Hmm.
that's starting to become more mainstream. And it's great, but there's a lot more that all of us can do with that. Although cultural shifts take time, so we'll have to put it in little, bite-sized bits for
Oh
just
yeah,
how can we get the people that are kind of thinking about it
to
to
take the
pre-plan.
step. Yeah.
And then eventually we'll address the people that aren't thinking about it at all.
Yeah, we'll get there one day at a time. I like your earrings too, by the way. I noticed the skulls going. You got you got to have it
Yeah,
at
my
all
friend
times.
3D like that she laser printed these for me.
They're beautiful. They're very nice. That's what we're talking about. Death positive, right there. How did you get in? So I know you mentioned about your dad having, you know, experienced a loss suddenly for your family. We're so sorry to hear that. That was the catalyst for you to get involved in death care. And what was your journey like before that? And where do you see yourself going then here in the future?
Yeah. So I come from healthcare, from actually the laboratory background, was working with PCR and COVID and a few other PCR tests I won't mention
Yep.
prior to this. But I first entered healthcare because I wanted to make an impact on people.
Hmm.
Couldn't pay off my student loans if I went and was like the counselor or a teacher. So I decided to go into the IVD side, which is manufacturing. And I
Hmm.
spent a lot of time there managing, birth to testing and even death. But it ended there. And then after the experience with my father, I realized that healthcare expands to death care, not just in bringing you to the point where someone passes away and we wash our hands of you and you're done.
Hmm.
The counselors are pulled off or any other system supports. Healthcare expands to the mental health of the people
Sure.
that are going through that situation, to the way
Oh
that
yeah.
we celebrate each other. And after that experience, I thought, well, my main goal is to impact society positively and to really like
Mhm.
make a difference on people's lives. Here's an area that I can do it. And I
Yeah.
witnessed so many friends and family going through this similar experience to what I went through and not having the tools or mechanisms that they needed to,
Mhm.
even though we have them everywhere else in our lives. And I thought, here.
Yeah.
And so I left healthcare in March of just this year to do this full
A
time.
few
And
months
I
ago.
anticipate, yeah, and I anticipate I'll be here for the next 10 years to retirement and beyond.
Yeah, yeah, that's I love it. It's always fun to see people come in with an outside perspective for those of us have been in it for quite some time. It's a whole different industry really. It's very tight, it's very close for as big as it is, and I think we all sort of understand each other in the amount of uh heart that we put into this. And I'm sure you've experienced a lot of that. What have been your thoughts over these months about funeral service and about funeral directors? And what are some of the unique things, like different things that you've learned that you had no idea about?
The first thing that amazed me was people's willingness to talk. So
Hmm.
when I was first figuring out, okay, can I do this? What problems can I solve for the industry? I sat in my office for 3 weeks and called people on the telephone and said,
Hmm.
I am currently doing a life transition and I have some questions I want to ask you. And 98% of people gave me the time.
Wow, I'm shocked, to be honest.
I was shocked too because in my,
We're usually busy, so
corporate life,
you must
that
have
would have
been
never
guessing.
happened.
You must have been guessing some good, nice people that were able to step away for a minute, because usually you're running around with the chicken with its head cut off most days.
I mean, I did like, pick a time to follow up with them to schedule when they could put me in. But
Sure.
I think when they heard I was genuinely interested and genuinely wanted to ask questions about their experience,
Yeah.
people made the time. And I didn't expect that. And for me, that just shows the heart. And that same
Oh.
amount of willingness to listen for me is the willingness to listen for the people that come to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it made me feel like, wow, this is really the right arena to be working in. So that was just the capacity to care was the first thing that I felt.
Yeah.
Um,
I what now let's get real. Like what was the weirdest thing or something bizarre that you now understand that you had no idea about? Because there's got to be hundreds. Like my
Oh,
brother
yeah.
comes from outside the industry and he's learned over the past several years all about what we do without being in it every day. So there's got to be something.
Yeah, weird. All right, let's see if I can come up with something weird. I mean, the transportation of bodies and the thought and the paperwork, and that's not weird, but I don't think I understood how much work
Yeah.
and time goes into the back end decisions for them to give service. So that was my big like insight moment of wow, you are managing three different systems, five different people,
Yep.
six different things. And previous to this, it was like, okay, somebody dies, you just take it, you like stick a needle in the body, you put the body in a coffin, you stick the body in the ground or wherever. And I really, really learned about just the hard work and the amount of work
Yeah.
involved. Like how dynamic the people are to be managing across so many different systems amazed me as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of back end work that goes into it. And uh, we just wish that more people had that uh, revelation that you've had, Jolene, because that's part of the whole thing of maybe why the funeral industry isn't respected by some people because they think it's too expensive, this, that, and the other. It's those are the people that have no idea the grueling effort it takes every single day and what goes into even the most basic of calls, your direct cremation with no service, nothing. There's still a ton that goes into it that people just are like, oh, well, what's the big deal? You pick them up and you throw them in a fire, and it's like, no, that is absolutely not how it goes. There's so much more to it, and we only wish that more and more people understood. We're trying to get people there, but it takes time, it takes effort.
Yeah. Well, guilty as charged. We'll tack
Yeah,
it for your discussion on educational campaign ideas for just helping the consumer understand what it is that you go through.
right. Yeah. Just and everyone has to do it too. And there's a lot of paperwork and there's a lot of sweat and a whole lot of not so fun things that you got to deal with in the background. And it does take a special person. I think that's why a lot of us are so close in the industry because we know that you have that little special something.
Yeah. Well,
Because-
and a lot of managing people.
sure. Oh yeah.
I think the biggest thing I was like, I didn't realize how much you're a counselor, you're a mediator, you're taking on every single thing that this storm comes with, or sometimes not a storm, right?
Yeah.
And I was very just impressed. I mean, you need a whole group to help you guys help them practically.
Yeah. No doubt. And you have artists and you have surgeons and you have financial planners and you have missionaries. And I mean, you have like everything rolled into one is part of the beauty of the job too, for people that like a little bit of ambiguity on their day-to-day basis. But it keeps you on your toes. There's no doubt about that. What do you think you see yourself in this industry? So as you're getting settled in, what does your future look like, and what are your big goals for your company and getting more and more involved with the industry? What does that look like for you?
Is to be an effective bridge between how current practices are to modern consumer needs. I would like to find a place where Farewell Finder is a value add to the homes
Yeah.
as well as to the consumer. So
So tell
how
me,
can we
give me like a comparison, another website or another company in a different industry that would be similar to Farewell Finder so we can wrap our heads around what your goal would.
for weddings for end of life planning,
Got it.
but with additional resources that would be like grief counseling for online, other
Yep.
support services.
That's nice. And clearly we know how many people use use the knot. I just RSVP'd for one of my buddy's weddings yesterday, and it was the easiest thing ever. I typed in his name and typed the word wedding, and it was the first thing on there. Shout out Jimmy. Congrats on getting married next month. But that's a great idea. I think it not only for situations like that when you're trying to find an obituary or find a person, but also for helping the family that's going through it to plan it out. Do you ever get nervous at all about funeral directors? Now, a lot of funeral directors, I'm not saying it's me, but a lot of funeral directors will probably think, hey, you're trying to take away from what we're doing, when I understand that that's not your case. You're trying to be a value add. What is your rebuttal to a funeral director that might think that?
It is, I'm not here to take away services or revenue. It's to enhance the ones you currently have.
Yep.
So my rebuttal would be a question. Would it make a difference if you could connect with more consumers in a digital space and also offer them digital memorial pages, online arrangement services,
Mm-hmm.
event management where they connect their favorite playlists and have their family collaboratively on there?
Yeah.
Would that be something that would take away from your services today, or would it add value?
I think it would add it. As long as it's, it's probably less work on me and a better experience for a family. I think that's crucial. I'd like to ask a question about, so the online arrangements. What does that look like? So it would be through your website. So how do you correspond with a funeral director? As we know, it is a very urgent matter when someone
Yeah.
passes away. So how does that work if a funeral director is using Farewell Finder, or they're listed on there and it's like, hey, we have a new family for you? What is that like?
Online arrangements will be that you'll receive in your inbox, along with a call from a representative of Farewell, that someone has logged in. They've answered a few basic questions like, cremation, burial, other service needs.
Okay.
And now it's the funeral director will be picking the ball up that we hand to them to communicate with the consumer directly.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And that's available then. What if someone's in the middle of the night? Because we all know that we're in those situations. So is someone available to help in those circumstances? And I know we're talking pre-need and at need, but I think it's important to understand both points of view for sure.
So for very urgent need, they'll be directed to call
Yeah.
the number that you have on your site. Uh, because I'm a startup and I'll be scaling, I will not have 24-hour
Yeah.
support to have someone call you.
You
It'll be
don't want to
regular
answer the
business.
phones like us 24/7.
Yeah. Maybe AI will answer the phone,
Yeah.
and then AI will call you.
We need to get that for all of us. That would be a dream scenario. So maybe you could tack that on to Farewell Finder, some AI answering service for us.
Yeah, we'll have AI assisted planning,
Well, there you go.
but they'll be directed to use the traditional channels of contacting you for
Gotcha.
emergency needs.
Yep.
So when they start, it'll ask them, do you need something right now? Do you need something for the future?
Yep.
And we'll funnel them appropriately. And if it's something right now and they check the box that this is super urgent, we're going to pull your number. So update your websites, make sure your Google listing
Yeah.
is up to date as well, because we're going to pull that number and provide whatever's listed on your site for them to contact you there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's cool. And so are you going to be listing, any funeral home that is literally out there like on Google, or is it more you have to approach you to get your information listed? And two part, is it going to be a nationwide thing like immediately, or is it more you're starting locally and then expanding? What is that?
Hopefully everyone will be listed, that it'll be pulled from your Google and website. So if you're on Google and you have a website, it'll be pulled from there.
Yep.
I will be starting regionally at first because of scaling
Sure.
and wanting to have good customer service. I can't bring the entire country in at first.
Mhm. Where are we starting?
There will never
Where are we starting?
about, Illinois or Florida.
Okay, okay. I can help you with one of those.
Yeah,
Actually,
well, maybe
Florida's
that'll.
my third favorite state if we're ranking, so I could probably try.
Yeah. Well, and we'll see. So I actually have in about 3 weeks a campaign that's going out to funeral homes where I have been working to gather data on your services. That's, do you have veteran services, traditional, customizable, pre-grief, post-grief? So people will be receiving emails from us saying, hey, Farewell Finders gathered this data and we want to let consumers know what you have.
Yep.
Can you come click this listing, claim your business, and tell us if this information is accurate? And at that time, they'll also have the opportunity to give the emergency number for at time of need people or the best email.
Yep.
If people do not claim it, we will be pulling from Google and their website.
And you better be updated on there, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not sure
sure I
how many
own it.
people are.
I would hope. But that's cool. No, I like that a lot. That's a good way to go about it. And that way you have everyone represented, and then those people that are going to take advantage are going to take advantage. It's just like anything. You're going to have those early movers that are like, hey, well, why not have my information on somewhere that's going to get more traffic and more potential families that we could help out for those people that want to get involved and not miss out on new trends, because I think that's something that a lot of funeral homes struggle with, are keeping up with the times. But just like we talked about at the beginning, Jolene, there is that new wave coming in right now where people are willing to try new things and be the first to get in front of any consumers that might want your business, because it isn't just localized where you drive down the street and try to find your closest one. It's not like that anymore.
I've been loving talking to the associate funeral directors or the apprentice directors. So far, they're my
They're
favorite.
because they're gung ho and they haven't gotten 10 years beaten out of them yet.
Yeah, they're like, I'm going to do everything.
Sure.
It's going to be great.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure.
Yeah, I have the same thing to say after, 12 years in corporate. It's like I started off starry-eyed as well. But, we hold on to some things and I believe in them.
Absolutely.
I think they'll do at least 75% of what they wish they would.
Yeah, hey, that's more than you can ask for. You got to shoot for the stars and then land on the moon, or whatever the saying is. So what is your dream? You seem to have that entrepreneurial spirit within you. What does your dream look like for like your personal life, like going through starting this business? What was it that got you fired up to do it in the first place? Because I know a lot of us funeral directors have a lot of that too, having their own small business. So what is that like for you?
Love complex problem solving and helping people.
Okay.
And I particularly love things that seem like so much of a challenge, nobody wants to take them on. That because we have to make societal shifts here is a lifelong endeavor.
Yes, it is. I don't think you get into this industry and not, it's either you're in it full go, full throttle for probably the rest of your life, or you're getting out after a couple of years. There's a statistic. I'm not going to get it exact, but there's something like 70% of people that start out in funeral service don't make it past like their second or third year as a licensed funeral director. It's just a very tough industry to be a part of. But once you get through that barrier, that's when it's like, I'm going to be in it for my life.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're here for people, not just the families of the grieving, but the people who are servicing them as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we
want to reduce burnout. We want you to manage less systems. We want you to have an easier way to do your job, to alleviate the burden across the spectrum, to create an ultimately, more simplified process.
That's nice.
And that's a dream we'll be chasing for a while.
Yeah, it's not something that just happens overnight. I understand how much work that goes back into the behind the scenes of all that stuff, and you're just trying to help make people their lives a little bit easier, which is really appreciated by funeral directors. I'll tell you that much. What I got a final question for you, Jolene. What is your favorite feature that Farewell Finder has or is coming out with? What is that one thing that you're super excited about above all other things? You have to pick one.
Yeah, so for me, it's the playlist.
Okay.
But I'm a musician, and I'm like, the first thing I think about in planning my own end of life is the playlist that I want playing.
Bangers only.
Specifically curated. Yeah, which is just an additional feature. It's not any of the core features, but I added that for me.
Nice.
And then second to that is I'll have a community page where there will be a recipe sharing feature. Like it'll be like different memories. And one of the campaigns we'll be having is like share your favorite recipe from this person.
That's
and
beautiful.
To get everybody to kind of create this cookbook.
Yeah.
Because I love music and I love to eat. So those are my two favorite features.
Ooh, that's really fun. I hope we can have maybe a hidden feature and there has to be a passcode to get it so people aren't stealing my family's recipes or something.
Oh, share 'em with the world. You don't want grandma's recipe to go away.
Talk to my dad about his skirt steak recipe. He's got a stranglehold on that. I'm telling you right now.
Well, I appreciate this time with you.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Tell us where we could find you, where we could reach you at, and if a funeral home is interested, what is our timeline looking like, and how can we get in touch with you to get the ball rolling for our own funeral homes?
So you can find our waitlist today at farewellfinder.com.
Okay,
It is version 1, collecting both businesses and consumers that are interested in it. You can also email us at partnerships@farewellfinder.com.
perfect. Well, everyone, get out there, give it a shot. Let's be those test dummies for Jolene and make some great playlists and some cookbooks for our families. I think people will love it. So thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate you, and congratulations on doing what you're doing. It's a wonderful endeavor. I know how much effort it takes and how much of a risk it is to go and start your own thing, but uh, you just got to keep plugging along and stay with it, and it's well worth everything down the road, as a lot of funeral directors will tell you, having their own business too.
Thank you. I can't wait to connect with everyone.